important thing to acknowledge is that megacity invites multiple narratives. Depending on who you're asking and where you are asking, you will get different kind of stories and descriptions and narratives about the megacity. I think all of that needs to be accounted for, but as you can understand, all that then require consolidation, interpretation, and synthesis of some sort. I think the question of megacity is ongoing. It's a phenomenon that's happening right before our eyes. Before we can comprehend, the megacity is becoming something else. So it's like fleeing after, following the beast, so to speak. How can we plan something that's ongoing, that's fluctuating, that's evolving in all kinds of ways, in spontaneous ways, in ways that are beyond official administration, official planning? I think it's quite clear that conventional planning is unable to contain, official planning is unable to contain, manage the phenomenon that we call megacities. It's very clear that megacities require a new kind of planning practice, which could be a combination of large-scale planning, but involving dynamic elements in it. From my perspective as an architect, an urban designer, an urbanist, if you like, megacity is a spatial phenomenon. Let's not forget that. It's not just a set of abstract economic, social activities. It is taking place somewhere. It involves geography, it involves landscapes, and then in most cases of megacities in Asia, for example, they are expanding cities. By that I mean that they are already in some kind of conflict with other kinds of human habitats or natural conditions, whether be it villages, towns, wetlands, floodplains, and they need to be resolved. Megacities can't kind of continue run over all these conditions. And I think here comes more innovative, and I don't mean that you can just go and stop that by decree. I think you need to kind of come to a creative resolution of these conflicts. The other thing is about scale and morphology. Again, as an architect and urban designer, I'm interested in that. Megacities, immediately by the sheer expanse of its footprint, is about scale. And that makes it distinctive from a village, a small town, even a big city. And I think the scale is multiple, multi-scalar, and that also needs comprehension. It also has a morphology, and as I was saying earlier, that all cities are alike. Each city is different. Each city is different because even they're morphologically different. Even if as I look at Jakarta compared to, say, where I come from, Dhaka, immediately it looks kind of similar. The same kind of physical elements. The tall buildings, the infrastructure, the MRT lines, the roadways, the traffic. But then if you look closely, there are many different things. Unlike planning a much more contained settlement, the planning of megacity involves a relationship with other planning processes. The planning of megacity involves its linkage to national planning, its linkage to a regional planning. Sometimes regional plannings don't exist in many of these places, and I think it's very critical because megacities, by its very nature, involves an intervention in a region. It's expanding. So by its very nature, it requires that a region needs to be planned or looked at or organized in the context of the destiny of the megacity. So I think planning requires looking at regional planning, it requires looking at national planning, and then of course the planning of the megacity, or an attempt to plan the megacity, or to set up a framework of plans. We talked about that because of the dynamic nature of megacities, the planning needs to be dynamic. It can set up a set of framework against which nodal development can happen, and even allow certain kind of spontaneity to be active. So I think it requires it challenges conventional practices, and I think we need to look into more innovative ways of planning for megacities.